Hey everyone, welcome to Sunny Commutes, a podcast where I share my experiences in tech, and on this episode, we're going to be talking about our recent move to New York. So with me here today, I have Tanya, my favorite person in the world, and we're going to be sharing why we wanted to move to New York in the first place, how we actually were able to make the move, some of the lessons that we learned, and overall just how we feel about being here. So then another thing, and I remember I was actually booking tickets, plane tickets, to fly to New York because we're planning to just fly here, spend, $200-$300 during the pandemic. It was also cheaper.
And why?
But also dangerous. So I remember you called me during that same day. I ended up canceling the tickets because you told me, babe, I actually have a much better idea, and that is to take the car.
And tickets were not available. I remember.
That's right.
Tickets
that
were
was
not
another
available.
thing. So I thought it's probably easy to get tickets. No one's flying nowadays. But no, actually I had to get it a few days after when our move-in date was.
And that's another thing to consider, you guys. When you are getting keys from your apartment, you have to physically be there. So your move-in date is the date when you're getting the keys from your company, your broker, or the owner of your apartment, regardless of what kind of services you're using and what kind of rental property you've got. So either the owner will come over, or you would need to get your keys from the broker.
Yeah. So you had a really good idea when you called me. You said, "Hey, let's just drive the car over to New York, and we'll park it in Brooklyn."
Yeah.
And it's much cheaper than parking on Manhattan, and that way we can bring all that extra stuff that the movers couldn't take.
Yeah.
All the stuff we needed for like a week living here without our furniture. So all of that, I think, it ended up being better that we actually drove here. Right?
Yes. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
You guys, also I wanted to mention something. Remember we talked about all of the advice that people will give you once they find out that you're moving? That's why I feel like, honestly, we just should not have told anyone that we were going to move or that we wanted to move. Because all of the advice that people gave us, it's based solely on their perspective, right? So we've been told by multiple people, not just one person, not to bring our car to the city. That New York is very walkable. Of course, there's subway. There's so multitudes of ways that you can commute to your work. So no need to A, rent apartment to Manhattan, and B, no need to bring your car. For us specifically, and if you're anything like us, both turned out to be wrong things. Because we did ended up going with Manhattan instead of going with Long Island or maybe Brooklyn or somewhere in Queens. And it was important to us because we like to walk. So if you like to walk, if you like commuting, I don't mind commuting for 1 hour, actually walking to work. I'm totally fine with that because...
Versus being stuck in traffic and you're not getting any exercise, all those things.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
One of the reasons, also a call out to our first section, one of the reasons why we wanted to move, I wanted to establish a more sustainable lifestyle for both of us, but especially for myself. For my own health, I wanted to have access to all of the resources, meaning having access to international food that has been imported from Italy or France or Ukraine, but also having access to the bio products, how they call them in Europe, or organic products over here, which is very easy in the big city like LA or New York City, right? We have access to so many different markets and food stores and eateries of ready restaurants.
Charlotte had it, but it's like 1 or 2 stores. They're usually smaller.
Normally you would have to travel to the farmer's market, which is something that we did. Every weekend we would drive to the farmer's market to get our local produce. Over here, we can just walk.
It's a couple blocks away, and they're there like throughout the whole week. Yeah.
Exactly. And we're in between Targets and Trader Joe's everywhere, and we have fruit stands. It's amazing. So we wanted to walk everywhere, number one concern. And also we wanted to walk everywhere, not only to the grocery stores, but because we wanted to get in shape. We wanted to have not a sedentary lifestyle where you just sit in your car for 2 hours commuting from home to work, and then you sit in your car again for 2 hours, and then you come in home and you sit in front of your TV on the couch. I know that there are couples that are extremely active, that do CrossFit together, exercises together for sometimes 2-3 hours in a row after work. Unfortunately, we're not there yet, and neither we're planning to be there at a certain point. But we do enjoy walking. So if there is some kind of exercise that you guys enjoy as a couple, it could be biking, it could be swimming, try to look for apartment in the area where this is provided, because there are multiple of options here in New York City. There are indoor swimming pools. So if you're a couple that loves to swim, try to look for apartment in that area. If you're a couple that loves to walk, figure out the way that it will take you to walk to your work.
For me, it's just I need that outside motivation. So it's not like, I'm not the person to go to a gym or some CrossFit center and do that every week, a couple times a week, and go after work for a couple of hours. But instead, if we need to go walk a couple of blocks to get groceries, we need to commute to work, and that's, a 30-minute walk or whatever it is. If
and you carry everything on yourself, so you're exercising.
So then it's like, and this is just how we both grew up. We grew up in cities and doing that sort of stuff by walking everywhere and taking public transportation. So I think it's just much easier to be active if it's just part of your everyday lifestyle.
Yes. It's not like you're making that huge commitment and you're saying, okay, so today I'm going to go to the gym and I will work out. The gym is part of your life. You're waking up, you're going to the farmer's market, walking. Then you carry very heavy grocery bags, not using wheels. So don't cheat. Actually carry your grocery bags. That's a workout. You're lifting that weight, right? So every little thing is going to be a workout for you because it's part of your life, and it's natural, it's organic, and it's harmonious with how we are as a couple.
Yeah. And I think that's a good transition. So there's a lot of stuff in New York that we've been enjoying. So besides, the movers and like having to actually get here and all the stuff that we have to deal with, like it's really nice once you move in. All the stuff that you can experience in the city. Yeah. So,
Central Park.
Groceries, there's all that stuff. Going to the park, you make the best picnics. So just enjoy more of life being here in the city, because all these things are just available in greater, I don't know, there's just more stuff in New York. Italy, you mentioned, like the Italian food that they import is just not, it's impossible to find that in Charlotte, in other states.
There's French market. So if you want to go to, your Little France, right? There is an entire block, I think, called Little France. Also, there is Little Italy. It's more than just one block. There is...
if you love Indian food or Indian culture...
Oh, yeah, we actually have Indian food
in our area. There's a ton of restaurants, a ton of grocery stores. So
Ukrainian village. Yeah.
We ate at a Ukrainian restaurant recently.
Legit Ukrainian food.
It's genuine food. So all of that stuff that's available to us in the city, we get to enjoy that. Over time, maybe we'll get tired of that once we've experienced everything. But New York is so huge
you just need to experience
it's just years and years that we'll be able to enjoy just going to the park. I don't think Central Park will ever get old. I still enjoy going there. It's a nice escape from, the city, tech life.
Don't think that it's only, concrete jungle and that's it. There are, of course, this huge skyline and so many high-rises. But if you want to find nature and escape, it is available to you right within the city. It's Central Park. Aside from Central Park, there are multiple gardens, multiple city squares. So
we've actually walked all the way to the end of Central Park. There's this beautiful garden conservatory there.
No one talks about Conservatory Garden because it's so far away. But if you continue, so imagine this is the road called Museum Mile. Continue to go all the way down to 105th Street. That's right. You will see Conservatory Garden over there. It's a hidden gem. It's absolutely free. It's amazing and gorgeous. There are lots of flowers there.
And then also with the car, we're still able to drive to places like the beach, which is just an hour away.
Yeah.
So we actually...
The closest one is like 40 minutes away. Like big
So
beach.
Long Beach, Jones Beach, and there's just a lot more besides those two.
Yeah.
But we take the ferry. For us, it's a 10-minute walk. We take the ferry over to Brooklyn.
Which is another 15 minutes or so.
Yeah. And, we're sitting on a ferry. We're not being active. But once we get off, it's another 10-minute walk to the parking garage, and then we're off on our way to the beach.
And you might find this complicated because you think, well, I can just open up the door, go to my garage, and take the car. But consider it this way. Every time in your daily or weekly lifestyle, if there is some kind of a struggle, something that you have to go out of your comfort zone to do, this actually feeds your mind and feeds your body because you are working your muscles. You're getting out of your comfort zone. So every single time you need to take the stairs and you choose to take elevator, I'm sorry, but this is hurting you in the long run. So, for instance, for us, our grocery store has an escalator and an elevator, I think.
Yeah, we just take the stairs.
We never use it.
Yeah.
We use the stairs. Even when we have heavy loads on us and we have like each, 4 bags of groceries, we would still use the staircase. So try to use staircase more often, even if you're not in New York City.
It's like those micro decisions in your everyday life. Yeah.
Every single micro decision now that we make, we are thinking about what would bring me more struggle, honestly.
Yeah.
We'll think, okay, what would make my leg muscles work more? What would make me be more sustainable, right? And what would help me to give back to community while I'm doing something?
It's all like just the satisfaction in what you end up getting.
You feel better, right?
I didn't just go and hop in my car and go to Costco and get all the food there and quick run. Instead, I actually had to walk, put in the effort, carry those bags over back home.
Yeah.
And then once I'm I look at my fridge and I'm like, I worked. I didn't necessarily hunt, but like I worked to get this food.
Yeah.
Same thing with cooking, and I didn't really cook much before we were dating. But then she's shaking her head. For the audio listeners. But then, I got more into cooking and just still basic stuff. But now, after, I cook something and I'm eating the food afterwards, I feel like I appreciate it more.
Satisfaction, right?
I get satisfaction. I put work into it. So that's kind of how we are as a couple. We try to put in work for the results that we try to achieve.
If you think that this is easy, if we're just like, throwing numbers at you, 10K, just save 10K. Everything that we do comes with a struggle. Everything that we do comes with work. But we do appreciate it more because we worked for it.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Oh, I wanted to mention something about the car. So we mentioned that we've got the car. We decided to keep the car. People will advise against that, but if this is something that you have to do, you cannot sell it at this moment, for instance, which was our situation, or you have to partially move with your essentials in the car, and our essential was our cat that is sleeping next to us right now. Of course, we would need a car for that, and we were too scared, honestly, to fly. It would have been very dangerous. We would have been exposed to hundreds of people that could have been sick.
Right.
We are lucky because, knock on wood, we ended up not being sick so far.
Well, also, we didn't infect anyone, right?
And we
were just
infect
driving
anyone.
Ourselves, so it's just safer for everyone for us to do that.
It was such an easy drive. I mean, you guys, when people are complaining about moving to New York City, it was such an easy drive. We stopped outside of DC just for a night.
And I happen to enjoy driving, so that's also made it easier.
It was so nice. I disagree with people who are saying that it's a difficult drive. It was very pleasant, very nice. We did have a stop so that we're fresh. We woke up, and the next day we moved from DC. The day off, we woke up. We went to from DC to New York City, and Sunny had just mad parking skills. That he learned before.
I was
think
prepping,
about that too.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, prep about
months,
it.
Yeah.
If you are considering moving to New York City and you're considering renting a car while you are in New York City for maybe a couple of weekends or so, or using your own car and parking it over here, make sure that you practice. If you're from outside of New York, people might not know. When you're passing driver's tests, you do not have to show parallel skills, not everywhere. So I personally, myself, never had that skill. and we had to train ourselves. Sunny trained himself to parallel park. So think about even those little things that you would have to do. So yeah, it was an easy move, and we decided to keep the car. I looked for different parking spots, and I actually found a very affordable parking spot through Spot Hero. So another non-sponsored thing. So many
Would you recommend them?
I would recommend Spot Hero. Just remember that they don't necessarily disclose it on their website. After you sign up with them for the first months, you still need to reach out to that local parking spot. Talk to the office once you park your car and sign paperwork with them. Lots of parking spots in New York City and outside of New York City are still not millennial friendly. So if you think like me, oh, I'm just going to fill out application online, I don't want to do this, I want everything to be automated. It is true for lots of other services, but for parking, it is still largely run by the people that are more conservative and traditional, that want to keep that paperwork with your signature on it. And you would have to come in, park your car, everything will be easy from then on, but just make sure that you sign that application.
There's another piece of advice that we definitely want to share, and that is in terms of having a job and how your salary affects the type of apartment that you can get and just your overall move to New York. So one of the things that was important for us was to make sure that we both had jobs in New York. In my case, that was actually fairly straightforward because the company that I was at, they're actually New York based. That was another part of New York that companies like that are very prominent here. But in terms of the job, they paid me well enough to be able to facilitate the move in terms of that 40 times requirement of your monthly salary or monthly rent. Yeah. So for me also, because they're already here, I was able to coordinate that where I already had a job. It was a simple location move, but my job stayed the same. I did switch teams, but regardless, it was pretty straightforward on my part. Now, in Tanya's case, for you, it was a little different because you were actually having to look for a new job, and you weren't sure if you're going to stay in the same company, if you were going to find a completely new company. So what were some of the things that are going through your head in terms of your job search?
It was pretty stressful. That's why, and this is what actually made this move pretty stressful, is looking for a job plus the movers. I have to say that Sunny's move, career-wise, and the fact that his company actually is headquartered in New York City, it's another thing that inspired the move to New York City because we wanted him to grow here career-wise and be able to have those opportunities that he might not have had if he had stayed in a satellite location in Charlotte. For me personally, I was also ready for the move. At the same time, looking for the job affected where we were looking for apartment. So please remember that looking for a job in the city, that's number one thing that needs to concern you. Once you secure that, everything will stem from it. First of all, you need to figure out what would be your commute time, either by foot or by car, which is not desirable because you would need to park your car somewhere, or by subway or by ferry. So you need to look for a job that is within that walkable distance or whichever you want for your lifestyle. If you want to be very close to your job, of course, that's going to dictate the roles where the address is going to be at.
When we were actually looking for the apartment, I remember that was very difficult because we weren't sure what the actual location was.
Yeah.
Because let's say we're in Manhattan, which is where my job is located, but then your new job ends up being in Jersey or in Brooklyn or somewhere else, right? Even just on the same island, if you had over an hour to commute, that would be really difficult.
And I did have some opportunities. I had some offers in Jersey City. But very soon I realized Sunny's job is in Midtown Manhattan. Most likely we will look for apartment in Midtown or around that area on Manhattan. So for me, commuting for more than 1 hour and a half just to get to Jersey City doesn't make any sense. But we also did not want to rent an apartment in Jersey City because for our first year living in New York City, we really wanted to be in the center of everything. That was our desire. So I'm glad that Sunny actually, set his foot and he told me, okay, no, we're staying on Manhattan. If we're looking for an apartment, it needs to be on Manhattan. We're not moving to Jersey City. So I'm glad.
And there was a lot of there was a lot of unexpected there's a lot of just like
Force majeure.
just a lot of unknown, right? Because we weren't sure, like, okay, ideal scenario, we stay in Manhattan, but when we're discussing the location, where the job might be, we're like, well, we can't guarantee that, you know, Tanya, in this case, would have a job there. Yeah. So you were thinking, like, well, we have to consider the scenario where we might have to be in Jersey.
Yeah.
But that's adding a lot of stress, and it's also making a lot of decisions that we don't have to. So from my part, I'm like, okay.
It just makes it too complicated.
Yeah, but from my side, I'm just saying, if we pick that one location, also I was fairly confident that you would be able to find a job there. So I just want to go ahead and just pick one location where if we have both jobs in that area, it makes everything easier. We're not worried about our first year in Manhattan or in New York having to commute an hour and figure out the logistics all around that.
Absolutely. So think about the boroughs that you're selecting based on the job that you have found. If you're still searching for a job, a piece of advice, do not move. Get the job here first.
And that's what we ended up doing. And it just added stress. Like, we made it work, and I think...
I did find a job. I found a job on Manhattan, and currently, of course, we are during the zombie apocalypse. So because of this, everybody's working from home. But in the future, one of the offices is located on Wall Street in the old Fulton Center area, the traditional area, if you remember, where the... One Freedom Tower is located, and another office where everybody would be eventually moving is located literally across the street from Sunny's office in Bryant Park, which is also in Midtown. So we were very lucky to pick the location that is only 10 minutes away by foot, just walking to both of our offices. Yeah,
so ideally just find the job before you move. Makes things less stressful. And a lot easier.
And money-wise, be careful. Understand that you need to prove to your landlord, whether it is just a person, a company, an agency, you need to prove to them that you're making enough money to be able to be a reliable renter. People here don't rent out properties to people that cannot afford it. So if you're watching this video, you're probably already on the way, right? You're trying to figure out if this is a suitable move life-wise for you, right? Changing this lifestyle completely, moving to New York City. Start searching by looking for a job first. Don't move without the job.
All right, so it gave you a ton of value there, but to quickly recap our main advice, one is to just sell everything before you move. Makes things easier, get rid of that bulky furniture. So sell everything. The second thing is don't go with a mover. Just do it yourself, have that confidence. And then the final thing is to not go with a broker. Again, just do it yourself and save yourself that money. Any other advice that you recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're listening to people's advice, take it with a grain of salt. There's something that could be applicable to your lifestyle, but there are many things that person might not know about you that is not going to just apply to your life in New York City. If you want to or need to keep your car, or you know that your move is temporary and in 2 years or 1 year you would have to move to either suburbs over here or down to another state where the car is required, keep your car because you end up losing money. So try to think not only within the immediate time frame, but 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and try to account all of that and how your lifestyle might change.
And lots more content coming in the future. Go check out Tanya's Instagram. Lots of cooking, lots of content.
We're going to be posting things behind the scenes, and also we'll be posting a lot on how to save space by being organized and being clean, utilizing your space correctly. And the great advice is to minimize everything and use resources available to you through the minimalist book and Netflix special.
Good resource, yeah. So be on the lookout for all those things. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.